there, Kathy here. It's the 1st of October and it's actually a really nice, sort of cool day. The temperatures are supposed to be in the upper 60s, maybe to 70 today, and it's kind of overcast. In my book, that's a perfect kind of temperature to be out working in the yard. And we've got lots of things to do. We have gotten some of our fall bulbs in that need to get planted. We also have picked up some mums and some pumpkins to decorate in the yard. And we took a nice trip out to Brigg's Nursery in Massachusetts yesterday and picked up a couple of new plants. So come on along with me and let's get a little bit of work done. One of the things you're probably going to notice is that we've got a lot of leaves coming down, even though the trees really have not started changing color significantly yet. And that's because it has been very, very dry here. I saw on the weather this morning that we're actually about 2.5 inches below normal for September. And that's something we're really noticing, because the trees do start losing leaves if they're a little too dry. I like to line our stone wall along the driveway with small pumpkins, and I've got some sugar pumpkins here, but there's a little work that needs to be done first. I love this stone wall, but some of the shrubs are starting to overgrow it, and I'd like more of the wall to be showing, and I'd like all of my sugar pumpkins to be showing when I put them on here. So I'm in the process of cutting back this Coast Leucothaway, and it is a massive plant. And one of the pieces of advice that I can give you is, if you are cutting Leucothaway, try to get as deep into the plant as you can. Don't just trim it like you would a boxwood hedge. Get in there and actually cut it out, the stems, as far as you can. As you can see, the inside of the stem has no leaves on it at all. It's just at the tips. And these plants will grow back so fast, you'll be amazed. And then I'm also going to go down and do a little bit of trimming on the rhododendron, those Adora rhododendron that are at the other end. But those just need a little bit of touch up, and then I'll start decorating. Okay, the Leucothaway pruning is done. I just need to pick up, and you can see that the whole wall has been exposed, which is what I was trying to do. Now, have I sacrificed some flowers by doing this? Sure, because it does form its flowers over the summer. And by the way, I'm sorry if you're hearing machinery in the background. That is from next door. And while I've been doing that, Tom has been doing some pruning on this very large Kusa dogwood. And tell everybody why you're pruning it.
Because it hits me in the head when I mow.
Ah, so it hits him in the head when he mows.
The other thing is, we've been transplanting, and clearly these are not going to get any sun at all under the current canopy. So I'm going to reshape this. I'm going to reshape a couple of the trees with my new little toy.
Which works extremely well.
Let's see. Okay, I'm thinking, and I don't know what gives me this impression, but I think this is a branch that's got to go. And it comes back here, and then I look at this and say, oh, that's going to hide this stuff. So this whole branch goes. So here comes my little trusty chainsaw. And I'm going to go right above this notch, resting the plate on the tree.
And it fell right on me. It was in the wrong spot. Fortunately, it was small.
My bad.
And there is where he cut it. And you don't want to cut tree branches so that they are absolutely flush with the bark of the tree coming up. You want to give a tiny bit of a neck on it so that it has a little better chance of healing. I got out the leaf blower, got it all cleaned up. You can see that we've got a trailer full of stuff to be moved. But I think that these look cute on here now. I will probably have to replace some over the course of the season because the chipmunks will go after them, but that's okay. One fall decorating task checked off the list. Tom's tree pruning looks pretty good. He was careful to maintain the vase shape of this very mature Kusa dogwood, but at least now when he mows, he's not going to have branches hitting him in the face. So they didn't have any Cavitine Andromeda, but they had this very nice hydrangea, and it is called Wee Bit Grumpy. It's a dwarf, and the reason I'm grabbing it, it has very, very thick leaves, like that city line that I've had in the yard that the deer have never touched and had such beautiful flowers. So apparently the city line series is no longer being sold. But we'll try this. And here's the inside area. They have got a little bit of everything. And we topped off our visit with giant cookies and smoothies from their cafe. We also picked up some seeds while we were at Briggs. We got some more of the Orient Wonder Beans, and if you don't know what those are, I would go and take a look at our Crazy Beans video that we did a little earlier this season. We also got more beans, Royal Burgundy, a purple green bean, and Gold Rush, which is a yellow green bean. These are bush beans. We got some seeds for Black Beauty, Summer Squash, type of zucchini. And we also got some more seeds for Sugar Snap Peas, all of our favorites. So Tom is planting the new little hydrangea that we picked up, Wee Bit Grumpy. Unlike Tom, who's never grumpy.
That's right.
It's time to start working on the front porch and get some decorations up. I'm going to do some cutting of the coleus here, like I've been threatening to do, to winter some over. I got a nice silk wreath on the front door, and I have some pumpkins. I'll show you where they go. But one of the things that I'm going to have to start doing something with is the houseplants. Now I have probably 70 to 80 houseplants. About half of them actually come outside during the summertime. The others are just way too big. And I will probably show you a lot of those when the snow starts flying and we have no outdoor things to do. Now, some people do bring ferns like this inside. I'm not going to do it because they tend to shed like crazy in the house. And I only paid, I think, not even $13 for these hanging ferns at Home Depot this year. So to me, it's just an annual, it's a disposable item. Here's Gizmo helping me out. Yeah, I said your name. So I have some very large blue planters here. These I don't actually plant anything directly in because they are so large, and I leave them out here over the winter and I don't want to take a chance of cracking them. But what I have done is I've taken some plastic planters that fit right inside them, and I've put trash bags in them to hold water, and then I've set annual plants in planters inside of those. And now what I'm going to do now for my pumpkins is I'm actually going to put a tile over the top with the pumpkins on them, and then later in the season when I'm ready to put some greenery in these, I'll fill them with wet floral foam and then put the greenery in, and I'll show you what I do when that happens. But let me get going and get the pumpkins and the tiles and get started. So I started out by finding a tile, and this is just an old floor tile that is big enough that it will rest on top of the planter, but there's a little bit of space on the sides here where you can put things, and this is going to be my pedestal for my pumpkin and decorations. Now the next thing I did was I cut some Hakona Cloa grass, which is a very short grass, and I layered it over the top so that I'm covering my tile. I also cut some of my incredible hydrangea, which have dried on the plant, and I'm actually going to stick them into the little pockets that have been left between the tile and the planter. Now I cut those pieces of incredible hydrangea fairly long. I left fairly long stems on them so that when you push them in to those pockets that are between the tile and the planter, they'll stay there even if we get a fairly heavy wind, because this is an inside porch area. It's not a porch that is covered at all, but it's one that does, have a roof. And we're probably maybe 5 feet in from the edge of the porch. And the very last step is to place the pumpkin in the middle, and the pumpkin will weight down the grasses. And again, the grasses are just there to sort of cover over the tile. You also could put branches with leaves on them, but the grasses, of course, are so light that the pumpkin will easily hold them. And we have a pretty decoration here. Now I'll do the other side. So I did come back and I added some more hydrangea to this display. I recall that the Incredible have a tendency to turn very brown, and so what I did is I got some of my Invincible Spirit that I had dried previously that stay very green, and I added them to the mix. I think that it looks pretty nice. So here we go. Very simple. Added a couple of mums to it, but I'm thinking that with the annuals that are still in bloom out here, and those few little additions of pumpkins and mums and some of the dried hydrangea, that this was a very good start to our fall decorating.